How many of you are familiar with Tom's shoes? Probably all of you. They're ubiquitous in America and have been made famous through their classic business model in which for every pair of shoes you buy, they donate a pair to a child in need. It sounds completely harmless until you realize that their model is incredibly flawed. John Favini, who's an expert on the development of the African continent, once wrote a highly revered blog on how the Tom's Shoes model is a classic A mistake of giving fish instead of training fishermen. Tom's has a very sincere heart, but they're treating the symptoms of poverty instead of the actual root. And sadly, this reflects the hearts of many Americans. We know that poverty is a problem and we want to do something about it, but we don't really know what to do. So we just give objects and give things, and we're treating the symptoms but not the root, which lies within the systems in place. Throughout my research, I have found that poverty can be treated through education, healthcare, and economic reform. My speech is designed to shed light on the misconceptions of worldwide attempts to solve poverty so that change can occur. Hopefully, you can apply this knowledge to your own life so that you can make a change to impact the world. But before we talk about reform, we must admit the brevity of worldwide poverty. Poverty is a huge problem that is getting very little results. GlobalIssues.org gives some facts on poverty today. 80% of the world lives on less than $10 a day. 121 million children around the world are without education. 2.2 million children die every single year because of lack of immunization. And for every $1 given in aid, $25 is given towards debt repayment for the poor. These statistics point to a serious need for solutions in education, healthcare, and economic reform. For education, there lies a huge difference between urban areas and rural areas. Julius Agbor from Brookings Research talks about how teachers are wanting to go to urban areas because they offer higher pay and a better quality of life and better infrastructure than rural areas do. Also, many children don't go to school because they don't have any way of getting there. So there's a transportation issue there as well. But more often than not, parents want their child to stay home and work for them because they or another family member is sick and can't work. To fix this, we must urbanize these rural areas. We don't need to build more schools in these poor areas, but in fact, we need encouragement and awareness to the parents and the children on the importance of education. And we need to urbanize these areas so that teachers are more attracted to the rural areas and will go and provide better education. But sadly, there is a link between no education and poor health. In the Journal of Family Practice, Roger Strasher discusses this downward spiral that occurs in ill health. When someone is sick, they don't work. And when they don't work, they don't have enough money to go to the hospital. So they just get sicker and sicker and sicker, and on the downward spiral goes. One of the big problems is access. 31% of the poorest in South Africa don't go to hospitals because they don't have any way of getting there. There's no transportation for them. It's also very poorly financed. Dr. Borghi from the Health Policy and Planning Journal says that the distribution of total health benefits is pro-rich rather than pro-poor, meaning that poorer groups receive a lesser share of benefits from using health services than richer segments, and benefits are not distributed according to need for care. This is because financing is through taxes and regressive out-of-pocket payments. So reform must occur in the system of financing healthcare and also providing transportation for the poor. But there is a theme from taking from the poor and giving to the rich, which leads me to talk about the overall economic problem. Money lenders are causing a huge debt spiral in villages. The rural poor can't borrow from banks because they are poor, so they go to money lenders in their villages, which are charging outrageous interest rates, like 24 to 120% annually. So they go to another moneylender to pay off their first moneylender, and then to another one, and then another one, until they're just swimming in debt that they can't pay back. Dr. Bonsall from the Journal of Management talks about microfinancing as a possible solution. Microfinance institutions offer small loans at low interest rates, which could go towards a poor person using that money to buy a cart for their daily job, or maybe a trip to the hospital. Microfinance helps to develop economic growth and development because it's easier for the poor to reach, and the poor are learning to have their own economy instead of relying on others for them. As you can see, poverty is not just a one-way solution, but it consists of corrupted systems that are interconnected and deeply rooted. It may be easier to donate and be like Tom's shoes, but in the end, poverty is not about us, and it's not about convenience. Now that you know this information, be careful about who you are donating to. Is the organization you're donating to fighting for reform, whether it be education, healthcare, or economy, or are they just working to provide emergency relief that doesn't really do that much for them? I hope that now you are informed enough about the problems of worldwide poverty, and that you're inspired to make change in your own decisions so that you can make change in your